What is going on? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Jacemachine, and I am fueled by coffee and driven by insanity. And I hope that you guys are doing fantastic today. I'm doing great. We're playing StarMade. We are in a creative single-player world working on what is going to be an eventual station for the Squadron server. And I have some stuff to show you today. I have a lot to show you guys, actually, today. Instead of doing the carbonite freezing pit, which would have been really nice in here, I realized that at the end of the day, this entire room is actually supposed to be dedicated to my factory, which is these right here. I have them color-coded. They are not currently hooked up with factory enhancers, so they are currently all single production ones, and there's no power on the station yet, so these guys are just throwing up error codes. They're not even doing anything, but the idea is that this one in the center is going to be like your generic, like, craft anything, one copy of everything. And then you're going to have like a times 10, times 100, times 1,000, times 5,000, maybe. I don't know. It depends. This is probably just going to get used by myself, so I don't need a super huge production issue. Plus, Squadron base itself is already set up to handle even larger quantities. But I have plenty of places to hide the eventual factory enhancers, so it should be easy enough. I also intend on sticking those things inside of my lava-filled tubs here, my crucibles. Does that same thing apply in here? Yeah, this is also hollow. So, I mean, I have plenty of space that I could stuff modules and things like that. But I'm very pleased with how it came out. I like my hooks. I got these little side chambers, little control rooms that are supposed to be, you know, you look out over the work here. And because I'm mirror imaging, you got, you know, you can look on the other side there. Mostly blue colors. A lot of stuff needs to be worked on, obviously. This is going to be one of those, like, constantly being worked on. But, hey, check this out. Got ourselves an industrial fan to help get rid of them steel fumes, right? Going to encase this on the outside, so, you know, make it clean up, make it look kind of cool, in fact. You know, more decorative work in the future. Possible doors leading to possible locations out here. And, let's turn on this machine right here. There we go. Sending the lava across. I mean, it's sending the molten steel through and doing something to it. Same thing on the other side here, except that I have to reset up the. I have to properly set up these the spinners. And by spinners, I mean the rotation. It should be going clockwise, not counterclockwise, because of the direction. See, it's okay for this to go counterclockwise because whatever is happening is heading that. Whatever. Who cares? Listen, it's not like this factory's doing anything. I'm getting, like, caught up into these little details, but, you know, whatever. These things have been filled out a lot more since the last time you saw, when we just sort of laid out the grid and where we wanted them. Again, they're still hollow. We can still pack stuff in if we need to. Yeah, but I think they look pretty cool. Again, I don't know what any of this stuff is supposed to do in real life. I'm just going by photographs and just being like, this would look cool here. In fact, I think that this particular version of my my connecting, my hose connectors looks pretty cool. I haven't used the smaller pipes on them before, but it's definitely the way I want to go. And this is what? My micro assembler and my, what is the other thing? Recycler, micro assembler, and my refinery, cap refinery. Thanks, game, you put it on there. You saved my bacon. We got some teleport things over here. I'm going to probably stick some large tubing going back and forth between these two. And the reason why is that these transporters are based off of that movie, The Fly. If you guys have not seen that movie, it's got Jeff Goldblum in it, and it is awesome. However, if you don't like gross movies, do not watch that movie. It's about a man who turns into a fly. Spoilers. Okay, so back here, nothing new has been added. And let's see if there's anything else that has been done on the station. A little hiccup there in the graphics just now. I don't know. Still have not actually added anything here. A lot of stuff is on hold. You guys know, those of you who play the game a lot. Those of you who don't play the game and just watch this because you're like, man, this looks like a cool game. You may not know that there's a massive gameplay, game mechanic change coming up in the future pertaining to power and the way that power is implemented in the game. So that leaves a lot of us sort of kind of stuck. You know, so we've taken to just doing shells of things. That's why we're playing more in this creative world rather than on the Star Squadron server so much. Because this is what we can do. This is what we can do. I don't know if I mentioned it before in the previous episode where I was talking about random crap, but remember when we were first riding into the station here, right? This was going really slow, and I actually used, times 32 to speed it up so it would slide in as quickly. The reason why my rail speed is not working is because that takes power, and there is 0 power on the station. So that explains that. Thanks to those of you who pointed that out. I think that was Sven the Slayer. You the man, but you know it. You appreciate it, my friend. All right, so what we need to do in the future or today or something, we're going to be working on filling out the room here. This is going to be some sort of robot garage, basically, like a little workshop for the robots that handle our systems here. And what else? We got these. I'm thinking, why are there windows here? It's so you can see out here, but I also wanted to have windows. Jeez, Jace, get out the hell out of here! Oh my god, so frustrating. Completely turned around now. There we go. I don't know. I thought I had a point. Maybe I did. I don't know if I do anymore. But here's what I was gonna get around to saying. We'll just skip to the chase. We're gonna have giant gears in here, because you know me and gears, kind of my thing. So we are going to be putting gears of varying sizes so that when you look through here, it looks like some sort of clockwork action is happening, where the gears are of different sizes and are rotating in different directions and stuff, looking like they're moving each other and partly powering this, whatever this is. And if it's really cool, we might actually just seal it off so that it's something that you can only come out onto this area to look at. That might be cool. Again, it's like the whole idea with what I was talking about last episode with depth. You know, you want to add depth. And coming out in the middle of something gives you an immediate sense of more depth because you have the height, but you also literally have the depth in this case. And that is a missing block right there. We're going to need to fix you up. So I guess let's get to it. We're going to start filling in the this back room here. Pull up my HUD and creative mode. Pick out our basic shapes, our basic colors. The shapes are cubes, you jerk. Alright, so we're picking out our basic colors here, and that's probably good enough for now. We'll put a grate here, put a pipe, and maybe a girder, maybe a scaffold, and maybe grill. Always good things to have. I build a lot with those. And it looks like we're going to probably set up some mirror imaging. So let us do that with our advanced build mode. Make sure that when you are building with advanced symmetry modes and mirror imaging that your button actually like set it right? Because sometimes I'll come up and I'll be like, okay, we're good. And then it ends up being completely on the wrong side. So just double check. Save yourself some work. This game has a lot of wonderful features to make builds really, big builds easy. But you guys know, big builds are also, it takes some time to take them down. But of course, you can make large areas of remove blocks. You can argue against what I'm saying, basically. But the moral of the damn story, guys, is that you shouldn't have to do extra work. Just be smart in the first place. You know what I'm saying, man? Just like, play smarter, not harder. So, anyway, let's see what's going on. We've been hanging out on my Discord a lot recently, and I know I've been hawking it a lot lately, but it seems to be a pretty fun place. Got a lot of you guys have joined up, and you are those of you who are my subscribers are starting to actually meet some of my real-life friends, and those of you who've been hanging out there also realize that it seems to be the place where the Star Squadron members hang out and chill with everyone too. So if you have a favorite Star Squadron member that is not me, because, you know, that's a thing. No, seriously, though. Come on by. Come to the Discord. Hang out with us. And we're going to start playing some multiplayer games as a group. So if you've been wanting to play with some Star Squadron people, not necessarily StarMade, unless you guys have a large server you can direct us to, and we'll all come and hang out maybe sometime. Star Squadron server is a tiny server. There's actually, you probably have heard me say this in the past, but there's actually not enough slots for every person to be online at the same time. So that's how we keep it. We keep it cheap. We keep it cheap. But yeah, if there is a multiplayer game that you guys are interested in playing with me or any of the other squad people, like, you know, let us know. Come either post it here or definitely come over to the Discord. You want to have the invite link? It's in the description. It's going to say Discord, and there's going to be a link right after it. You can click on it. That link is set not to expire, so you can just click on it, come right on in, say hi to the gang, talk to some of your other favorite YouTubers who are tiny, and and just have a fun time with us. Really enjoying it. Someone actually a long time ago recommended that I open up a Discord, and you guys who do follow me know that I'm a hermit, right? So I'm kind of antisocial. So like it took me a little bit getting used to the idea of just sort of being around more people more often, conversationally speaking, and I don't know why I waited so long. It's a lot of fun, and I really appreciate y'all hanging out there. And in fact, we were running a contest on my channel where we were putting on we were doing favorite comments from a video would get put into a random drawing, and the winner of that random drawing would win a Steam key. If you guys would like me to run another contest like that, let me know in the comment section below. We had a happy winner. He got to pick from 3 or 4 different games. Got to pick one of those. Gave him his choice because everyone, you know, likes different types of games and all that. We need this. Yeah, I gave it to him over on Discord. So there you go, guys. Come on out and hang out with us, and maybe sometime this weekend or something we can play games. Gary's Mod Prop Hunt or something. Wouldn't that be a fun thing? So yeah, basically I'm just rambling at this point. I'm trying to think of something interesting and worthwhile to actually fill this time in with. Hold on, I gotta check something here. The width of this is 3. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, let me tell you about the time that I was a witness in a murder trial. It was back in 1997, and I was living in this town called Norristown, Pennsylvania. I'm not going to tell the whole story like that. I was living in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and Norristown is... It's a small city, basically, is what it is. It's a small city, decent amount of crime. It wishes it was Philadelphia, but it's not, so it has a chip on its shoulder. It's a really tiny city. But the moral of the story is I used to live in this boarding room. I had just graduated from high school, and my parents had decided that they were moving to Florida, and I had no desire to move to Florida. So I stayed up in Pennsylvania. I moved into a boarding room in Norristown, and my next door neighbor was this dude named Andre Kent. And Andre used to like to stay up really late into the morning, and I guess he was doing cocaine or something. I'm not sure, but he would stay up till late in the morning, and he'd like clean the shared bathroom. So I lived in this boarding room, right? And the setup was that there was a full apartment on the bottom floor, kitchen and everything like that. The second floor was made up of 3 separate bedrooms, all next to each other, and we had a shared bathroom. So there was Charlie, the biker, who lived in Unit 1. There was myself living in Unit 2. And then there was Andre living in Unit 3. And yeah, these were back in the days when I was a very naive and innocent thinking young man. And I had no idea that Andre was actually a drug dealer. I kind of had my suspicions, but you know, when you grow up north, you kind of keep your own business to yourself. Basically, you try not to get involved in what other people are doing, and I also try not to pass judgment on people. Also, so you know, Andre was doing his thing. And so, but he was loud, and we had very, very thin walls in between. So he would come home, and he'd get on the phone, and you could hear him talking. And the reason I'm saying this is because one night I was talking to my friend Matt Crew, and I was poor, and I was thinking, man, you know, I have these few dollars here. I could go to the A+ mini market down the street, and I could buy some bread, and I could buy like maybe a hot dog and maybe some peanut butter, right? Or I could save that money and use it for bus transfers for the week. That way I wouldn't actually have to walk to the bus station, which was 12 blocks away, and catch the bus there that I needed to take into the next town to go to work. So what happened is I decided that food was good and sustenance was more important, and that I didn't mind the 12-block walk in the morning. So that is what I did. I went to the A+ mini market, and me, when I say we, it's the royal we, right? I went there, got the food, and as I was coming out of the place, I happened to notice a large amount of police cars, like just really driving fast down the road past us. And so I'm continuing to walk down the street, and even more cars, cop cars, are driving past. And then I noticed that they are now turning onto the road that I myself am about to turn onto. So I turned down that road, and yeah, there was a ton of cops, like about halfway up the road. And now I'm starting to see all of the neighbors standing outside on the sidewalk outside of their homes. These are classic style, like 1800s era row homes, brick row homes, brick sidewalks. In fact, a lot of huge sycamore trees with huge roots growing up through the sidewalks, and then just these knots of people all over the place, muttering and murmuring. So as I'm walking closer and closer to the center of where this is happening, which just incidentally is right next to where I live, or seemingly right where I live, I asked someone, you know, I walked past, I'm like, what happened? And they said someone got shot. I'm like, oh, wow. So I get closer, and then I start seeing police officers going in and out of my building. And I'm like, oh no, like, what the hell is what is happening here? So, you know, I'm coming up, I approach the place, the door's wide open, which is the door, the way that our door was set up in this place is that it was a heavy door, and it would lock behind you, and you, in order to open the door, you had to have the key, or you had to have someone on the inside open it for you. It's just, you know, security, and that way, if you were an irresponsible person in general, like, you couldn't, it wouldn't affect the people who lived in the building also. So, you know, everyone was safely blocked off and whatnot. So anyway, I'm the door's pried open, or just standing open, and what ended up happening is, as I'm stepping over the threshold, you know, I hear this sound of police from upstairs. Now I live upstairs, right? And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, did the biker guy, did Charlie kill Andre or something? Like, what happened? Because those dudes had a recent falling out, you know. They used to hang out a lot, and then I guess they stopped hanging out a lot. So basically, I noticed that Andre's very noticeable earring was on the ground on the door threshold, and his earring, he was a barber in town, and his earring actually was of that of a comb and barber shears, to represent what his day job was. So, I took notice of that, and as I'm coming up the stairs, I'm seeing now that that my door to my room is bashed open, and Andre's room is open, and there's police inside. So I'm like, hello, I live here, hello, and what ended up happening is they asked me if I had left my room in the mess that it was, and I said, unfortunately, yes. It was as messy, but I did shut the door beforehand. And the carpet out in front of my room, like there was like a doormat, was all scuffed up and messed up and things like that. So, like, something happened right around in front of my door. Obviously, something happened that busted my door open. Now, think of this for a moment, all right? Think back to the start of my story. I'm having a conversation with a friend, and actually he recommended that I go and go get some food. I was, sitting at home watching The Simpsons. I was thinking, man, I don't have to go out. I'm not that hungry. I can survive a night without extra food. Look at that, I may not have. Actually, I'm very sure that I probably would have been murdered that night had I actually been home. So that random chance of needing to go somewhere to get food saved my life. So yeah, thanks, Matt Crew. I appreciate that recommendation of getting food. Pretty solid choice there, in retrospect. So yeah, back to the story at hand, though. Okay. Basically, I said that I lived there, and the police, they paired me with a detective, and he said that we're going to go down to the station. I want you to give a statement. And I said, okay, I can do that. So the detective walks me out of the place, and he's going to take me to a squad car. But unfortunately, the squad car is on the other side of the street and down the road a bit. So he walks me directly past Andre's dead body, which is lying there, sprawled out on the street, on the asphalt of the road, with this white plastic tarp sheet draped over him, and he had like his Timberland boots or whatever, like his booted feet were sticking out from underneath the tarp, and they looked like, like if you'd seen a rag doll that someone had just discarded and thrown somewhere, like how it will just randomly there was no life in his body, and to accent to that situation, there was a growing. Well, I guess it wasn't really growing anymore. There had grown a large pool of blood that was. I remember it being very black at night, because it was in the evening at this point, maybe 7 or 8 at night. Anyway, so yeah, I went down to the police station, and I gave him my statement about what had happened, and I said I wasn't there, but Andre was home right before I left, and I said that he was having a conversation with someone on the phone. I could clearly hear that. It was loud, kind of excitable, but he didn't sound angry or anything. He just sounded like he was having a loud conversation. So the police. So anyway, that night I don't stay at the house. I go to my girlfriend's place at the next town over, and I stay with her family for like the next 2 days or so. So I come home, right, and Biker Charlie sees me, and he's smiling and smirking, and he's like, I saw the whole thing. So he tells me what he saw. Charlie said that Andre had let these 2 dudes up into the house, and they called on the phone or whatever, and he let them in. And what had happened was that basically he owed them money. So they started beating him up and fighting with him, and he obviously didn't want to die, so he struggled the entire way out into the hallway, which is where they bashed open my door during the struggle. So, let me delete these real quick. So Charlie, right, he hears the struggle, and he comes outside. I don't like any of this. He comes out of his room, and he's standing there, and he's looking at these dudes, and Andre says to him, "Charlie, help me, they're going to kill me." And, Charlie says, you F all your friends. Gentlemen, take him away. So they dragged him, kicking and screaming, his earring at the threshold of the apartment door. Range. They basically executed him. And he thinks it's hilarious. You know, this guy has seen some dark stuff in it. He volunteered for Nam. All right, so just to put you out, what I'm a member of a outlaw biker gang. So, all right, I'm a young man. I'm 19 or 20 at the time, I guess. I was 19, and basically, basically, what happened is I felt a really strong moral imperative to tell someone. So I called 911, and I said, "Look, I have some information on the Andre," and they connected me to. Told me that they were going to have a detective contact me the next day. So it's 6 in the morning. I get a phone call from the detective. He says, "Jace, it's the detective, or from last night, or from the other day. I heard you had some extra stuff to tell you." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Well, we are gonna pick you up and take you down to the police station so you can give this report. We're parked behind your apartment or your house right now. So just get some clothes on and meet us out there." Because what I'd said is that I'd been told some information, right? And so they're like, they didn't want to take any chances. You know, they were waiting out there in case, I don't know, who knows the workings of the police here, right? So anyway, They took me out the back. They didn't want anyone to see me. I guess Charlie or whoever at that point didn't know. But yeah, it was pretty crazy, basically. And moral of the story, was pretty crazy. I gave that testimony. They thought that I actually had seen more. They thought that I was actually just pretending like Charlie had seen it. They ended up checking the security footage of the A+ mini market. And saw that I was indeed not, I was indeed where I said that I was. So I ended up being the star witness in the murder trial when they actually arrested these two guys. I was going to art school in North New Jersey at the Joe Kubert School at the time. And the police detective actually drove up to get me while I was at art school. I didn't have a car, so I needed them to drive, and they did. They drove. I got to meet the some attorney general of Pennsylvania, something like that. He was prosecuting the crime, or I don't know, head prosecutor. I don't know how that all works. But moral of the story is, I got to say some good things about Andre, because to my knowledge, the guy was a nice man, and he was a nice dude. He treated me well. He treated me with respect. He was a family man. He loved his children, though I hated them because they were so loud. I was also working third shift at this point, so I would be awake at weird times, and he would be awake at weird times, and I hated those times because he'd play really loud music and have his kids over. But the thing is that he was loved, regardless of what he did in his life. He wasn't a violent person by nature. He didn't own a gun, which maybe he should have in retrospect, but he didn't. His family loved him dearly. I got to speak with his mother after the trial, and she thanked me for saying what I did about her son. She really appreciated that. So there is my Jace was a witness in a murder trial story. I hope you guys... I hope it makes you think, maybe, just random things in your life. Who knows what happens, right? I don't know. There's no point to it, to like the story. I mean, it's an interesting tale from my life, I suppose, and I don't have any moral thing in there. But yeah, random chance Just a good example of random chance. And it's also a good example of not getting mixed up with people who use shotguns to decapitate people, right? Am I right, or am I right? So, that's that, guys. I am going to probably wrap this up here. I think we got this main area sort of figured out. Let's put some light in here. Now, before I go, I'm going to explain what all of this is. We've got a secondary room here. This is going to be where, like, we keep parts. There's going to be an office back here with, like, a little desk. There's going to be storage. It's basically like a robot workshop where, like, extra spare parts are. So we're going to have to put shelving in. Make the shelving look something awesome so that we can actually keep, like, boxes and parts there. And then these individual spots are where the robots are supposed to stay when they are not in use. So I'm going to actually build some that are permanent. And then we'll have others that come and move around using our rail system that's here. This is already messed up. There we go. Anyway, there is that. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yammer on about something in my life. This is, right now, the easiest way for me to put out StarMade videos is just by doing these build videos. We'll get back to more cinematic stuff. We'll get back to more of kind of everything that we kind of do here on this channel in time. And we got more StarMade, Star Squadron stuff planned for the near future. So keep watching for that. And I guess with that being said, guys, I love you all. I hope you have a great day. I want you all to be careful. If you have any interesting stories from your life, come join the Discord. Tell them to me. Tell them to us. Share them. Interesting stories are kind of what makes the world go around, I suppose. But, see, that's why all these random holes come in place. Damn it. Anyway, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. I will see you next time.